and we are doing the world's quickest episode. It's going to be a mini episode, but not really less content, just super fast because we are rushed. We're bringing you the running news from the week, whether it is to entertain you on your long run or to give you something to talk about with your running group. We've got you covered. Well, actually, I shouldn't say it's going to be the same length as usual because I usually have a couple like silly stories that have no relevance at all. But the only thing I really have is have you seen, and probably not because you're not on social media, and I wish I wasn't either. People are making butter on their runs. Have you seen this?
No, why would this is a doesn't seem to be a problem that exists in the world that we don't have enough butter. Anyway,
Yeah.
so sorry. Can you give me the facts on this one?
And it feels really like COVID times, where people are just like doing weird stuff. But I guess it also kind of goes along with like the guy doing a 5K in the airplane bathroom. Like, is everyone okay? Like, find something to do. Use your time for something productive. So I guess someone in the running community, recently found out that, butter's made by churning heavy cream. And so you can do that by putting heavy cream in a bag, and you put it like on your body somewhere if it's in like your pocket or whatever. And as you're running, it's churning the heavy cream, and ta-da, you make butter while you're running. It looks like people have figured out you have to do at least 5 miles probably to make it work. Yeah. And so that is what people, the social media trends of the times, that is what I've seen a lot of like runner influencers are like, I'm going to try making butter on my run today too.
Oh my God. Did you? Well, number one, I think if you look at the great runners, most of them, there's not a whole lot of vertical oscillation. So,
Yeah.
and probably most of us average runners have a lot of vertical oscillation. So maybe it doesn't make a difference, but I think you're trying to minimize your vertical oscillation, like you're up and down bouncing as you run. And probably that seems to be obviously the biggest factor in making butter. Number two, it
Right.
seems like this is a recipe for getting like I don't think it's salmonella, but making your own butter in a bag on a run outside, and it just seems like this is not a pure and pristine, clean process that is not going to introduce any bacteria into your butter, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. Seems like a bad idea to me.
Yeah. Well, so you do run into the issue of like, whatever those kinds of bacteria that grow as food sits out at a certain temperature for too long. So yeah, like it's a dairy product, right? And depending on how long it takes you to run your 5+ miles, like, and you're keeping it close to your body, like it could reach that weird room temperature where bacteria that can cause foodborne illnesses thrives. So yeah, I mean, you could be creating a problem. Butter's weird though, because like people leave it sitting out for like a whole day. Like I don't really know what butter's deal is, but yeah, I mean that definitely is a problem too. I mean, if people want to get all crazy on the plastic, also like you got that just churning in the plastic, unless you're putting it in a mason jar.
It sounds like a Seinfeld episode. Like, what's butter's deal?
Yeah.
Why can butter stay outside and be that way for days?
Butter, what's up with that stuff? Yeah, so that's what people are up to. I'm not doing that. Well, A, I'm not running that long. B, who has the time to run? C, I've made my own butter, and like it's like a hard thing to do anyway. I'm not really trying to do that on my run. And the few people I've seen who just like by happenstance I follow on Instagram, and I also have seen them now being part of the butter makers of the world. They're getting like, this much butter, like a teeny tiny little flake of it from their run. So I'm like, we're just doing this for fun. I don't have the time. No butter for me.
I will say, like, it's not for me. But I do. It's kind of fun. It's probably fun for people to do.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of combining two things to, if you're going to be doing this anyway, get some other benefit out of it too. So again, I'm not yucking anybody's yum. So I'm going to just say it's all good by me. I wouldn't do it. It seems like a bad idea, but for anybody else, go ahead. Oh man.
There you go. That's all I got on my news front.
Yeah, and on my news front, I think I said to you last week that I was going to do the science experiment, and I did. I had
Yeah.
the hypothesis is that running on a treadmill, even at 1%, which is sort of the standard to sort of equalize to outdoor running, that would my hypothesis was no, running on a treadmill, even at 1%, is so much easier than running outside, even with just modest hills, um, or even running on a track. So I did last week. I did 3 2-mile runs on consecutive days, all those warm days, and then I repeated the exercise a day later, again 3 consecutive days and cooler temperatures. So the first set of data, I'm not going to run through it now in detail, but it did prove the hypothesis. But I don't think it replicated quite as good the second time. So we'll see. I'll share the data next week with you.
Yeah, I expect a full science fair trifold board presentation. Do you remember doing that?
I will do my I will do my best.
Yeah, as soon as you start saying hypothesis, I was like, oh, getting flashbacks to like the fifth grade science fair where we had to do the
Yeah.
poster and all that.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, that's the whole science. And again, I was trying to sort of follow that with sort of doing it once, and then you can certainly publish your data, so to speak, and then let it be peer reviewed, let it try to be replicated. But I'm like, I'm just going to replicate it. But I feel like the second time through, I didn't get the same results. I got similar, but maybe not quite the same. I just didn't go through the data yet to summarize it all by average heart rate, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, should we
Yeah.
get into the news? The
Well,
news.
yeah, let's hear the news.
Well, you saw so I'm going to go with my lead story was um, Grant Fisher, right, was running the half marathon. So Grant Fisher was sort of transitioning from the track. He's doing sort of his first little. It's a New York City half marathon, so it's not little, but he's doing his first attempt at sort of road racing and sort of a transition to go to the marathon. I think is the idea. But I'd say his first attempt was a bit of a flop. The headline was Grant Fisher struggles in half marathon debut, fades to 14th at the 2026 New York City half. Um, so his time wasn't great. It was over an hour. Again, being 14th overall, I think the expectation probably for him and certainly for the running community was he might not win it, but he certainly would be in the lead pack and be in the top 5 max. Um, so it seemed like when the lead pack made a move later in the race, he just didn't have the speed or the endurance at that point in time to respond. So I don't know. There's a lot of people saying get back to the track, stick with the track, and my view was it's it's one piece of data, right? It's one run. You don't know what caused it. Was it nutrition? He was sick he missed the Milrose games, as you may recall, right? He skipped those and scratched late because I think he was sick. So, and that was only a month plus ago. So that could have impacted his training. So anyway, I don't think we've got a full statement as to what happened, as to his own debrief, but it wasn't a success. And I don't know about you, but my reaction is the marathon's way more competitive than the 5,000, 10,000 for American runners. Like we don't compete globally in the marathon. So transitioning to the marathon, maybe that gives you a lot more longevity than the track, but you're not winning Olympic gold medals or, I mean, he's a bronze medalist in the Olympics, but you're not going to compete in that stage in my mind versus 10,000 or 5,000.
Yeah, now I guess I didn't do that much like looking into, or I'm just like not in touch because first of all, I only saw his results and I didn't read that as a flop. Like I was like, "Oh wow. Okay." I didn't know he was expected to do better than that. I mean, he was a minute and 23 seconds off from the leader. That doesn't seem like so bad to me, but again, I probably wasn't in on what people thought he was going to do. So like that I was like, "Oh, whoops, I'm misread that." And also, I guess I misunderstood what this race was. I thought this was just like one of those things. Like, Ingebrigtsen did a half marathon slightly before his Achilles and all that stuff. And it wasn't like he's transitioning to this distance. This is his new thing. I thought it was just like, oh, this is like a race that's part of my training for some reason. So I didn't realize this was like a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh wow, let's watch Grant Fisher try to do a half marathon. So I guess I was really like out of touch with what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, and this might be a lot of people speculating. I mean, if you know Kipchoge, right? He was a Olympic. I don't know if he might have been gold medalist in 10,000 way back in the day, right? So most runners, Safan, she was also obviously very track oriented and transitioned into marathon. So I'd say the majority of elite marathoners were at one point in time track athletes and transitioned that way. So I think it's natural that you would go that way. I think the longevity in the marathon, you certainly can be more competitive at probably 35 in the marathon than you can be at the 10,000. So I think there's probably a natural, and again, it might be a lot of people speculating. He might just be having fun, right? It's a year where there's no sort of global championship other than this indoor, world championships coming up this weekend. But there's no outdoor championship. So maybe he's just taking a year to experiment a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, he's still, I feel like, again, I clearly don't know anything about him now. He's like still young. I don't think we're like thinking like, oh, it's time for him to start transitioning to a different distance anyway. I also don't think we think of him like a Sifan Hassan where he can do all three in one Olympics and medal, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just like wasn't thinking that much into it. It's just like, oh, look what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Grant Fisher fan. I don't know how you can't be. I mean, he seems like he's not Sydney McLaughlin, right? I think she is sort of the darling of sort of U.S. running, but he's probably close on the male side. So again, big fan, but I just don't think it was as successful as he was hoping. Yeah, I think he was expected to contend. Again, not necessarily for the win, and not necessarily win it like an automatic win, but certainly in the top five. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I think a lot to debrief on that one and maybe in the future. He's not running worlds though, so it's the world indoor stuff. So I don't know. I mean, we're not going to really see a lot of Grant Fisher this year. All right, second story. Did you see that there was the second fastest marathon on the women's side of all time was run this past week?
Yes, I did see that. And do you want to know my first thought?
Drugs.
Yes. Is that
Ah,
terrible?
that's terrible.
Well, this is what they're doing to the fan base.
Yeah. So yeah, Ruth chipped the guy.
Messed it all up.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, she did mess it up for a lot of people, and there's a lot of doping going on in track and field. So I'm going to Tesfaye is her last name. Ethiopian athlete, 28 years old. This was her debut marathon. So, and she ran it at Barcelona. She broke the course record, I want to say, by several minutes. So I guess my question to you is, are we about to see a new world record? She ran 2:10:51.
I'm kidding, kind of. Hopefully this ages poorly.
She's not going to get caught. She's better. She knows what to do on this stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Oh, man. So, I mean, she's, again, second fastest time all time, debut marathon. I feel like this is Kelvin Kiptum, hopefully not as tragic, all over again. He that was only his second marathon that he ran when he ran the 2 hours and 35 seconds. So, I feel like we're about to see greatness on the women's side.
She finished 8 minutes ahead of the second place woman runner.
That's crazy. You're
What?
asking that question, or you're
I'm more like saying it as a question. Yeah, like I'm reading that and I'm like, what?
what?
What is I don't know much about the Barcelona Marathon. Is that a fast run? Well, maybe not if the other person was slow.
Yeah, I don't think it's historically super fast. I don't think
Okay.
it's a huge marathon. I don't think there was expectations that the second fastest time of all time was about to be run. I don't think people really had it on their radar screen. As you know, there are marathons in big cities all over the place. I didn't expect the LA Marathon to be the big story it became last week, right? I think LA Marathon is not typically one that people follow or talk about, but then he had that great finish, so it became a big story. So I think it's just an also ran another marathon, half marathon that's out there.
All right, I'm feeling better now. That this is what I get from
And by the way, she is an accomplished runner.
feeling
She
better
was
that
like the
maybe it
third
is. I
fastest
realize
half
she has.
marathon. So
Yes.
she's a high quality runner. This isn't somebody
Yeah.
who is hidden in some town, never ran track, and suddenly just ran the second
Right.
fastest marathon of all time. This was her
Part of
debut marathon, but she is a high quality runner and had
Yeah.
some accomplishments ahead of her.
Okay. All right. I take back what I said. I'm sorry. I don't know enough. I'm an ill-informed, not journalist.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
I think so Ruth Chippengetich, her time was 2:09:56. That's the one that still stands as the world record.
Ugh. Annoying.
I don't know how do they decide when to wipe out previous records of people and when do they decide not to when people get caught cheating? I don't know if I know the answer to that question.
I guess because they're creating a timeline of like when they can prove that they knew. I guess they're basically under the assumption they can't prove that at the time of the marathon she was taking these drugs because of when they did their testing or something like that. It's very annoying.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. Maybe you have to sort of there's like a presumption of innocence until you sort of either admit you've been using them for years or and most people, as we've talked about before, no one ever admits exactly what they've been doing. Very few people do.
Yeah, it's the
Um,
burrito was tainted, the cream, my fiance. Yeah, blah
yeah,
blah blah.
the most recent one I heard was the Gatorade gummies were tainted, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, all right, so that's that story. I thought that was interesting. I'm looking forward. I'm going to hope she's clean. I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do. It really just stinks, from my standpoint, that elite runners can only do one or two marathons a year,
Yeah.
and so we have to wait again. At least it's a spring marathon, so we can hopefully see her in the fall. I don't know what her schedule is if she's scheduled to not run another one or not, but so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll wait. Oh, by the way, speaking of marathons and running two a year, I did see Kipchoge's. Um, I guess he came out with some more information. He is running 3 marathons this year. He's running in Brazil. He's running in Australia, and he's doing one other one, which I cannot remember which one it was. But so yeah, that's part of his 7 continents 2 year process, and that he's doing 3 this year.
I'm excited for that too.
Yeah. Did you see? We've talked about Jane Hedengren before.
Yeah, I feel like
Phenomenal high school athlete. She's a freshman in college and just won the NCAA championship. Uh, Amazing, right? So I guess I feel like I wanted to give her some props just to say, I feel like we've got greatness in our midst right
yeah.
now. We should appreciate how good she is. And, I wasn't going to delve in too much what she did. She did, again, won, won the NCAA. That's a true freshman. It is done occasionally, but it puts her into a pretty rare air as far as people who have done it. And I know we've talked about this before. a lot of great phenoms in the women's side at very young ages, and for whatever reason, it doesn't always translate to when they turn professional and they become the best in the world. It just something happens. So I'm going to wish her the best. I'm hoping we can talk about her for years to come. I think there's some debate whether she should turn pro maybe at the end of this year,
Oh wow.
even though she's a true freshman. It's just what's she going to get if she's already the best in college? Is her talents going to improve by running against other college athletes for the next 4 years?
Yeah, well, I think that whole change in the like athletes in college now are allowed to have those NIL deals. And I think that can help change the scene from like we see all these people who would as soon as they're good they hit their what we think is their peak in college they're moving on to pro, but it's like now they're able to stay in college, make money that's like good money that they deserve probably for all of their hard work that they're all that stuff. So yes, I do hope if that's what she wants she stays in school, because I do think that can be a shift too, right? We saw that with Mary Kane, and I know there was other things going on as well, but like completely changing the trajectory that you've been on that's been so successful for you so abruptly, I think doesn't always pan out well for the college athletes either.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I think you're talking about a whole different pressure and enjoyment out of life that comes with becoming a professional athlete. Like
Mhm.
I feel like you know what, life is too short. You should enjoy your college years. You should, even if you're still. It's not like she's not. There's not other competitive athletes in college. There are. And
Right.
it's not like I think you can still, at least as an amateur, you can go and do other races. You just can't be, deemed a professional. But that's probably disruptive to your college life and world if you're trying to travel and do other things. So I don't know. I'm not sure what she's going to do. I don't think she knows what she's going to do yet. But again, great success in the short term. Hopefully that will continue. Hopefully see her for many years to come.
Yeah, totally.
All right, and the last thing I had was just a debate on the Running Channel. One of their articles was around would the world marathon record be broken in 2026, and I thought that was very relevant with the second fastest woman of all time running. So I guess I'm going to ask you for your predictions on both the men and women's side. Will we see a new world record in 2026 for men or women?
um yeah, why not? I mean, well, we just saw with the women's marathon, like you said, this is spring. We'll see if she's running one in the fall. We'll see how that pans out. um That would be super exciting, but there's also other amazing women's marathoners that I think we've been seeing more in the past year, year and a half, all getting much closer to that time. So yeah, I think so. And I think again, I'm always like a little. I don't know all the people, all those male marathoners. I have no idea who any of them are because I feel like it is kind of like a little bit of fluctuation. There is some, whoever's running the top time. There has been a little bit of uh name flopping around. So I think that also pans well for there being a world record though. Just because there are a couple guys that are really up there and that adds to some competition. So yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Let's
it
see
is.
it.
It is odd. I mean, like you, it's like these people seem like they come out of nowhere, and I'm sure they're not coming out of nowhere. They're just nowhere in my world.
Yeah.
Both on the men and the women's side, there's certainly a handful, if not 10 women and 10 men that are capable of being in that sort of world record area. Now, on the men's side, I don't know, man. I feel like that one it could be broken, but I feel like that there's a little bit of uh, that one seems like to me it seems like it's going to be harder. Even though the women's side, the world record went from like 211, or actually 212 to 211 to 209
Yeah.
in very short order. So it would feel like that one maybe is moved up a lot. but it also feels like there's more women that are closer to achieving that again. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm with you. I do think it'll be broken. I'm going to say yes on the women's side, no on the men's side. I think there's probably another year or two that Kelvin Kiptum's amazing 2 hours and 35 seconds will stand. Oh, and speaking of world records, I forgot to mention Mondo.
Of course,
Mondo, were you going to bring up Mondo? Were you going to remind me that Mondo
I
did
was. As I
another
was
world
signing off, I
record?
was gonna tell you, Mondo, Mondo, Mondo.
Yes, Mondo. By the way, Mondo is not the first guy. I did go back and look at the progression of the world record. My complaint about Mondo is every time he breaks the world record, it's by a centimeter. Um, and so his last, like, he's broken it like, I don't know, 13 times, and every time it's by 1 centimeter. Now I will say the previous Mondo before Mondo was Sergei Bubka, and he was breaking it by a lot early on in his career, but his last like 5 or 6, they were also by 1 centimeter. So I think this is like the model now. You just break it by a centimeter, set the world record, you celebrate, you go home, and you don't sort of go for that like big incremental jump because
Yeah,
now you can't break that again. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. Mondo's fan club over here. I love it. And that's our show. We got a little mini episode today. Felt like it was a little rushed, but still full of good stuff. Make sure you share our episodes with a friend and subscribe so more people can hear what we are chatting about.